Oh, hey folks, how you doing there? Coming to you today on all things Thursday, August 11th. And the liberal screaming memes are coming out of the woodwork trying to attack your Second Amendment rights. I mean, right off the bat, Hillary's pretty much stated that she is going to go full bore against the Second Amendment because those horrible, nasty assault weapons, black guns, call them what you will, just need to be taken out of the equation because they're so dangerous to have in a polite society. Now, case in point, of all things, Trump made a statement, and he said essentially, quote, Hillary wants to abolish, essentially abolish the Second Amendment. By the way, if she gets to pick her judges, there's nothing you can do, folks. Although the Second Amendment people, maybe there is. I don't know. End quote. Now, they're now taking this to say that because he said it, the Second Amendment people can this, that, and the other thing, it's going to be an armed revolution. They're going to storm Hillary. They're going to basically put a round into some body part of hers and take her out of the equation. And it was an obvious, complete, and absolute threat from Donald Trump to Hillary Clinton. Well, the way I read this is this. Although the Second Amendment people, maybe there is, I don't know. That's a call out to vote to me, okay, folks? She gets to pick the judges on the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court judges can, well, I don't know if they can abolish the Second Amendment, but they can definitely add a whole bunch of kinks and other things going against it. So let's just say one thing right off the bat. If the Supreme Court does try to abolish the Second Amendment, I can tell you for a fact there's going to be numerous states that pretty much tell the U.S. government, not doing it. Go away. Not having it. If you try to do it to us, if you try to enforce it upon us, we will consider ourselves as sovereign entities, and if you come into this place of which we consider now to be sovereign, we will be on your ass. So let's just say this from its outset. The Second Amendment is something that is completely indoctrinated, locked into place, and it is the way it is. I mean, there's no other way to state it except for what it is. It is not intended for hunting. It is not intended in some other way, shape, and means in any way, in any other way to express it other than for what it truly is. I mean, if you look at the actual words of what the Second Amendment actually says, it says this exactly. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Now, let's break this down for, the stupid people amongst us who don't understand what they mean. Well-regulated back in that era meant essentially that everybody was good with a firearm, had their own firearms, and were ready to employ them as, not quite maybe Minutemen, but were around to defend the country. Also, the next part of that statement, being necessary to the security of a free state. They said essentially that if the government becomes tyrannical, you need to have some means with your liberty teeth to overthrow those yokes that are oppressing your freedom. Lastly, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. I don't see any part in that about we're just talking about single loader weapons or, the technology at the time or, we didn't really see far-seeing about things would be completely different. I got bad news for the liberals, okay? Back even in that time period, they had multi-shot weapons. They were encroaching on something somewhere in the order of a machine gun, and they were actually employing many-barreled weapons to be utilized for more than just one shot. Okay? The technology had been slow in progression. They were still playing with, they're not the best steel. They basically were limited to black powder. But they were making progress, and in making progress in the leaps and bounds and, the little baby steps of the way things work, they were making progress. And I'll tell you what, the stuff they had back then was state of the art. So if you look at the way they express things, for time immemorial, they are stating those people who have the right to bear arms shall not be infringed. Now, of those things they said, a well-regulated militia. The militia is you, I, everybody else in the United States. If we're not raging felons, of which even they would state back in that time period, if you were a dirtbag, you would not get to carry a piece. If you carried one, well, you were breaking the law. If you were doing someplace away from everybody else, using it for your own means in which to, live, like whacking an animal for food and whatnot, that's a little different than, trying to defend the security of the United States. So they are losing their S word over what's going on with this one with Donald Trump. Now, supposedly, the Secret Service, the communications director, Kathy Milhone, has not confirmed the conversations between the campaign and Secret Service, but said in a statement Tuesday that, quote, the U.S. Secret Service is aware of Mr. Trump's comments, end quote. Now, what I see it happening here is possibly one of those guys went in and said, Mr. Trump, yeah, sure, come on in here. What's going on there? Well, we're getting a lot of media heat. We really need to talk to you about this Second Amendment thing for a second here. So we're going to talk to you officially, and they're making it air quotes, we're going to talk to you officially about this. And Trump's going to go, yeah, so they're really worried about it. They're going, yeah, these people sometimes, they hear something and they infer something else and they come up with something completely different. Truthfully, we don't think it's anything big, but you know the way things work. We really just truly had to come in here, just confirm that that they're concerned, and we had to, quote-unquote, talk to you. And I'm sure Trump was like, okay, you guys know what I said in that statement. And they're going, yeah, we know what you mean. Basically, it's a call out to vote. You're basically telling everybody that the federal judges can really do some real damage if they get into the Supreme Court, and they can do things that's really not cool. So pretty much you're just telling everybody, hey, you got to get out there and vote. Otherwise, she's going to stack the deck against you. Is that pretty much what you said? And Trump would go, yeah, that's exactly how I inferred it. But I don't see my people and those people that I speak with as idiots, okay? I put out 50% of it, and I let them complete the sentence for themselves. I mean, why in the world would I say, you better get out there and vote because she's going to this, that, and the other thing, blah, 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 blah. But he said, okay, let me get back to the Trump phrase here. Trump would probably say something like, I was just trying to let these guys do the rest of the sentence for themselves, stating it as such that, hey, the Second Amendment guys are a large voting bloc. They are going to get motivated if I say, hey, Hillary's going to do these things. If you don't do it in terms of the election, she's going to do these things. You must get out to vote. You are a major voting bloc. You're something that she absolutely fears, and you must step up and do these things. So, case in point, that's the way I read it. Quote, Hillary wants to abolish, essentially abolish the Second Amendment. Well, I just read you the Second Amendment. She doesn't like the fact that, those people who are pretty much shall not be infringed, she doesn't like that part. She likes government control. Continuing on with Trump's thing. By the way, if she gets to pick the judges, and he does that two-sentence thing sometimes. He has like a double-speak thing. Hey, it's kind of like a New York thing. It's like, you have the one guy from Goodfellas, Johnny speaks twice or whatever, whatever his nickname was. Trump tends to do that a little bit, and it's just a character trait. It's not something he does because he's stupid. He just basically just does it. But it's a lot of New Yorkers do that too. It's just how we are. By the way, if she gets to pick her judges, nothing you can do, folks. Although the Second Amendment people, maybe there is. I don't know. That was not a threat to her. That was a call out to vote. So they are now losing their S word, trying to figure out how to state that, it was an obvious threat against Hillary Clinton. And some of the memes I'm seeing now are absolutely hilarious. The latest one I just saw on Facebook just had me just chuckling. Donald Trump ties his shoes in such a way that, Hillary Clinton now thinks it's a noose tied into his shoelaces, and she feels threatened. Classic, man. Classic. Whenever you basically start ripping these guys by their own petards, it is uproarious. Now, the second thing I can tell you right off the bat that really jumped out at me was there is an interview, I believe it was on CNN, with Don Lemon and Dan Bongino. Now, Dan Bongino is a wannabe, hopes to get an office type of politician, good egg, former Secret Service. The dude has 11 years of Secret Service. He knows what he's talking about. So Don Lemon's doing this condescending, well, you don't know what you're talking about. You're lying to the people. And Bongino is like, really? I have 11 years of active duty service under the Secret Service while you were in school learning how to be a... what do you... that's right, you're a news guy. Yeah, he pretty much just shot him out of the water. It wasn't even funny. You have to see this interview, and Bongino is like, okay, if you don't like what I'm saying, you can always mute my mic here. And there was a couple dropouts, which kind of made me wonder, but he said, you can always mute your mic if you don't like what I'm saying. And Don Lemon's like, oh, I'm not going to mute your mic, but you're lying to the people. Don Lemon is a horse's ass. Whenever he gets caught up, he always does this, well, you're not smart enough to compete with me. He's got a really, really bad case of short dick syndrome. And he's really not a good news guy. But in terms of what CNN really has to offer, Yeah, that's Don Lemon, okay? I might be picking the networks wrong, but I believe it was a CNN kind of a roundtable thing with a bunch of other people, and they were just kind of sitting, kind of like looking at each other like Bongino's really ripping this guy to S word. It was not even funny, but you know what? This is two occasions where the liberals are tripping over their dicks, and it is fun, fun, fun to see. Hillary could always trip over her own dick, no problem, because well, she's the guy in the relationship. Bill's not the guy. Bill's just basically a pervert, basically trying to plug anything he can get it into. Hillary is the power one on that one, but she is a desperate power base grabber, and she does not cultivate good things. She is bad juju. All right, folks, I'm going to break up on this one. Eat good containers, always, you know it, you love it. Don Lemon, don't F with a former Secret Service guy. He's just going to rip your ass up, and it's going to be fun to watch. You are a moron. Hillary Clinton, I think you got threatened by a bird flying by, and it might have almost flicked a feather at you. Ooh, scary. Must have been one of those hunter-seeker birds. Yeah, remote control, kind of like a drone. Yeah, it was a drone bird. That's what it was. See you guys.